Have you ever felt like you're holding it together on the outside, but inside, a storm of hurt and disrespect rages on? Maybe it was a seemingly harmless joke that cut as deeply as a hidden blade. Perhaps it was the indifference in the gaze of a friend you once held dear, or the constant, unhelpful criticisms from a colleague. Those moments make us question, is my worth being diminished? I've been there too. I've bitten my tongue, forced a smile, and endured behaviors that left me feeling small and undervalued. Sometimes I even wondered if I was being too sensitive. But one day I realized this. No one has the right to strip away your self-respect and dignity, unless you allow them to. That was the day I decided to set boundaries and refuse to tolerate behaviors that hurt me. Today, I want to share something important with you. There are behaviors that we, no matter the circumstances, should never tolerate. These actions not only erode our self-worth but also chip away at our spirit over time. Whether it's disrespect, emotional manipulation, or exploiting kindness, the time has come to say, enough. What's the deepest hurt you've endured in a relationship? Have you ever wondered why you allowed it? But wait, don't give up just yet. In today's video, we're not just addressing toxic behaviors. We'll also explore how to overcome them and build boundaries that protect your self-respect and dignity. If you find this content meaningful, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss more thought-provoking insights about life's challenges and how to safeguard your well-being. Did you know that Stoic philosophy, a school of thought dating back thousands of years, offers powerful insights into navigating life's challenges? One of its core principles is this: you cannot control the actions of others, but you can control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest philosophers, once said, "Hold on to your dignity. It is your responsibility." These words aren't just a gentle reminder. They are a compass guiding us not to let others dictate our value. The truth is, tolerating unacceptable behavior doesn't make you noble. Instead, it slowly chips away at your self-respect and drains your mental energy. Setting boundaries is not just about self-defense, it's an act of self-love. If you started setting boundaries today, how would your life change? Let's continue exploring how Stoic philosophy can serve as a guiding light to help us rise above life's challenges and protect what truly matters, our sense of self-worth. Behavior 1. Disrespect. Take a moment to think about the last time you had to force a smile at a seemingly harmless joke that actually struck a nerve. Was it when someone said, "Oh, come on, it's just a joke, don't be so sensitive"? Yet, deep down, their words chipped away at your sense of self-worth. Moments like these, though small, have a way of silently eroding our confidence and pride. I've been there too. There were times I asked myself, am I overreacting? But here's the truth. When you allow someone to repeatedly act disrespectfully toward you, you're not just losing your self-respect. You're sending the message that it's okay for them to treat you that way. And let me tell you, no one has the right to disrespect you unless you allow them to. Today, I want to share how to identify disrespect and, more importantly, how to face it with calmness and strength. Disrespect isn't always blatant or loud. It often hides behind sarcastic jokes, passive-aggressive remarks, or even silence in moments when you deserve recognition. Think about a time when you achieved something meaningful. Instead of congratulations, you heard something like, "It's no big deal. Anyone could have done that." Words like these don't just belittle your accomplishments, they plant seeds of self-doubt. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Hold on to your dignity. It is your responsibility." This means that no matter what others say or do, your self-worth is defined by how you perceive yourself. How to handle disrespect. First, remember that you don't need to respond to every disrespectful comment or act. Your greatest strength lies in your calmness and self-control. 1. Set clear boundaries. When someone says or does something hurtful, let them know without losing your temper. A simple statement like, "I don't find this funny, can we talk about something else?" is enough to show that you won't tolerate disrespect. 2. Choose your relationships wisely. People who don't respect you don't deserve your time or energy. If someone consistently disrespects you, consider distancing yourself from them. 3. Stay calm. As the Stoics teach, you cannot control others' actions, but you can control your reactions. Facing disrespect with calmness keeps you from falling into the emotional trap they might be setting. Demanding respect starts with how you treat yourself. Are you giving yourself the time and care you deserve? Are you truly listening to your own emotions? Remember, others won't respect you if you don't respect yourself first. A question for you. Have you ever tolerated disrespect because you were afraid of upsetting someone? What would change if you started setting boundaries today? Disrespect is just one of the behaviors we shouldn't tolerate, but this is only the beginning. In the next section, we'll explore one of the most challenging behaviors to confront: emotional manipulation. This is when someone doesn't just undermine your self-respect, but takes control of your emotions to serve their own interests. If you found this insight valuable, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can continue learning how Stoic philosophy can help you safeguard your self-worth and dignity. Together, we'll build a life free from toxic behaviors and filled with the strength of self-respect. Behavior 2. Emotional manipulation. Have you ever felt like someone was pulling invisible strings, guiding your emotions like a puppet? Perhaps they made you feel guilty for something you didn't do, or blamed you for their own mistakes. Emotional manipulation often hides behind a mask of care and concern, but in reality, it's a subtle yet powerful way for someone to control you. I've experienced this myself, being guilt-tripped into saying yes when I desperately wanted to say no, or being made to feel responsible for someone else's happiness. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for anyone else's emotions, and no one has the right to use your feelings as a tool to manipulate you. Today, we'll uncover how emotional manipulation works, and more importantly, how to break free from its grip without compromising your self-worth. Emotional manipulation rarely comes with a warning sign. Instead, it often appears in the form of guilt, shame, or even excessive flattery. The manipulator might say things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. If you really cared about me, you'd do this for me." These words are designed to make you question your actions and feel guilty for setting boundaries. The goal? To control your decisions and emotions without you realizing it. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Recognizing manipulation is the first step to reclaiming your emotional independence. How to identify and respond to emotional manipulation. 1. Recognize the patterns. Pay attention to how certain interactions make you feel. Do you often leave feeling drained, guilty, or confused? Manipulators thrive on keeping you off balance. 2. Don't take responsibility for their feelings. When someone blames you for their unhappiness or failures, remind yourself that their emotions are not your responsibility. 3. Set firm boundaries. Respond with clarity and assertiveness. For example, if they guilt-trip you, say, "I understand how you feel, but I cannot take responsibility for this." If they try to shame you, say, "I hear your concerns, but I need to make this decision for myself." 4. Detach. Emotionally. Stoicism teaches us the power of detachment. Emotional manipulators feed on your reactions, so staying calm and composed is your greatest defense. Emotional manipulation works because it exploits our empathy and kindness. But being empathetic doesn't mean sacrificing your well-being for someone else's agenda. True kindness begins with respecting yourself enough to say no when necessary. Have you ever felt trapped in a situation where saying no seemed impossible? What would happen if you stood firm and put your needs first? Emotional manipulation is a tough behavior to confront, but understanding it is the key to breaking free. In the next section, we'll tackle another insidious behavior that can quietly drain your energy and self-worth: exploitation of kindness. If this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to continue this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Together, we'll learn how to live with dignity, confidence, and freedom from toxic behaviors. Behavior 3. Physical and verbal abuse. Let's address something no one should ever have to tolerate: physical or verbal abuse. It doesn't matter if it's a harsh word, a dismissive tone, or something far more damaging. Abuse in any form is unacceptable. And yet, so many of us endure it, convincing ourselves that it's not that bad, or that we're somehow to blame. But here's the truth. Abuse is never okay, and you deserve better. I've met people who endured hurtful words daily, told they were just too sensitive, or who brushed off physical intimidation as a bad day for someone else. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know your dignity and safety are not up for negotiation. Abuse often doesn't start with an outright assault. It begins subtly. A cruel joke that's just teasing, a shove during an argument that's just frustration, or words that belittle you under the guise of constructive criticism. Over time, these moments accumulate, eroding your confidence and making you question your worth. Consider this. If someone consistently disrespects your boundaries or uses their words and actions to make you feel small, they're not just being difficult, they're crossing a line. Abuse isn't just a momentary act, it's a pattern that can have lasting effects on your mental and emotional well-being. As Marcus Aurelius said, "It is within your power to maintain your dignity and self-respect. This is your reminder that no one has the right to make you feel unsafe or inferior." How to address and escape abuse. 1. Acknowledge the abuse. The first step is recognizing that the behavior is wrong, no matter how often it's excused. Abuse is not a reflection of your worth, but of the abuser's character. 2. Set non-negotiable boundaries. Communicate your limits clearly. For instance, say, "Oh, I will not allow you to speak to me that way." "Oh, this behavior is unacceptable and I won't tolerate it." 3. Seek support. Talk to someone you trust, whether it's a friend, family member, or therapist. Sharing your experience can validate your feelings and provide guidance on the next steps. Plan your exit. If the abuse persists, it may be time to create distance or leave the relationship altogether. Your safety and peace of mind are worth far more than staying in a toxic environment. Choosing to stand up against abuse isn't easy. It takes immense courage to say, "I deserve better." But each step you take toward protecting yourself is a step toward reclaiming your power. A question for you. Have you ever excused abusive behavior because you believed it would get better? What would it look like if you prioritized your safety and well-being today? Standing up to abuse is a critical step in preserving your dignity and self-worth. In the next section, we'll dive into another harmful behavior to avoid: exploitation of kindness. This is where people take advantage of your goodwill and generosity, leaving you drained and undervalued. Behavior 4. Exploitation of kindness. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to take and take while giving nothing in return? They lean on your generosity, your time, and your energy as if it's their right. They ask for favors endlessly. But when it's your turn to ask for help, they're nowhere to be found. This is not kindness. It's exploitation. And it's time to put an end to it. I've been there too. I've given my all to people who took my efforts for granted, who never stopped to consider how their demands drained me. At first, I told myself, it's okay, they need me. But over time, I realized this wasn't a relationship built on mutual respect. It was a one-sided transaction that left me feeling exhausted and undervalued. Here's the truth. True kindness isn't about being a constant giver at the expense of your own well-being. It's about balance and mutual respect. Exploitation often starts subtly. Someone might flatter you saying, "Well, Tom, you're so good at this. Can you handle it for me?" Or they frame their requests as emergencies. "I really need your help right now. You're the only one I can count on." Over time, these little favors become a pattern. You find yourself overcommitting, sacrificing your own priorities to meet someone else's demands. Meanwhile, when you need a hand, they always seem to have an excuse. "I'm too busy right now," or "I wish I could help." But the Stoics, with their wisdom, teach us the value of setting limits. As Epictetus once said, "No one is free who has not mastered themselves." By allowing others to exploit your kindness, you're surrendering control of your time and energy. How to stop the cycle of exploitation? 1. Recognize the signs. Pay attention to patterns. Are you always the one giving while they only take? Do they make you feel guilty for saying no? These are clear indicators of exploitation. 2. Set clear boundaries. Communicate your limits directly but respectfully. For example, "Oh, I can't help with this right now. I have my own responsibilities to manage." "Oh, I need to focus on my priorities and can't take this on." 3. Learn to say no without guilt. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. Practice declining requests that don't align with your values or capacity. 5. Evaluate the relationship. Ask yourself, is this relationship balanced? If someone consistently takes advantage of your kindness without reciprocating, it may be time to reassess their role in your life. Your kindness is a gift, not a weakness. It should never be exploited, but cherished and respected. By setting boundaries, you're not only protecting yourself, but also teaching others to appreciate the value of what you offer. Have you ever said yes out of guilt, even when it meant sacrificing your own needs? What would change if you started saying no with confidence? Exploitation of kindness is draining, but it's not the end of the story. In the next section, we'll discuss another behavior that demands your attention: constant criticism and judgment. This behavior erodes your confidence, leaving you questioning your every decision. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next step in our journey to reclaim self-worth and dignity. Your time, energy, and kindness are precious. Never let anyone take them for granted. Behavior 5. Constant criticism and judgment. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, it's never good enough for someone? Maybe they point out every flaw in your work, criticize your choices, or question your abilities, all under the guise of helping you improve. Over time, this constant judgment doesn't just weigh on your confidence, it can make you doubt your own worth. I've been there. I've let someone's unrelenting critiques seep into my mind, making me question every decision I made. At first, I believed they had my best interests at heart, but then I realized constructive feedback builds you up, constant criticism tears you down, and no one has the right to make you feel small, ever. Criticism often disguises itself as care. Statements like, "I'm just being honest. You need to hear this. I'm saying this for your own good." These may sound supportive on the surface, but if they consistently make you feel inadequate, they're anything but helpful. Constant criticism creates a toxic cycle. The more you're judged, the more you second-guess yourself. You might even start to feel like you need their approval to move forward. But here's the truth. Your worth is not up for debate, and it doesn't depend on someone else's opinion. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you internalize this, you'll see that no one's judgment can define your value unless you allow it to. How to break free from constant criticism. 1. Distinguish feedback from judgment. Constructive feedback is specific, actionable, and delivered with kindness. Constant criticism is vague, overly negative, and often aimed at diminishing your confidence. Learn to spot the difference. 2. Call it out, respectfully. If someone's critiques are excessive, address it calmly. For example, "Oh, I appreciate feedback, but it feels like you're focusing only on the negatives. Can we discuss how I've improved as well?" "Oh, your criticism doesn't feel helpful. Could we talk about ways to move forward instead?" 3. Shield yourself emotionally. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and composed in the face of negativity. Don't let someone else's judgment dictate how you see yourself. Instead, reflect on your own values and achievements. 4. Limit exposure. If someone constantly undermines you, consider reducing their influence in your life. Surround yourself with people who encourage and uplift you, not those who drain your confidence. Constant criticism is like a slow poison, chipping away at your self-esteem one comment at a time. But here's the antidote: belief in yourself. No one knows your journey, your struggles, or your victories better than you. Hold on to that truth. Has someone's judgment ever made you doubt your abilities? What would happen if you stopped seeking their approval and started trusting your own judgment? Constant criticism may seem inescapable, but you have the power to rise above it. In the next section, we'll tackle another draining behavior: excessive control. This is when someone tries to dominate your decisions and take over your autonomy. If this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay tuned. Together, we're building a life grounded in self-respect, resilience, and freedom from toxic behaviors. You are capable, worthy, and enough. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. 1. Behavior 6. Excessive control. Have you ever felt like someone was trying to dictate every aspect of your life, your decisions, your actions, even your thoughts? Perhaps it was a friend, a family member, or a partner who made you feel like their approval was the final say in everything. This isn't care or concern, it's excessive control. And living under someone else's control strips away your freedom, your autonomy, and even your sense of self. I've seen it firsthand. I've watched people bend and mold their lives to fit someone else's expectations, all while losing touch with who they truly are. But here's the truth. You are the author of your own life, and no one has the right to hold the pen but you. Excessive control often starts with seemingly innocent suggestions. You should wear this. It looks better on you. I know what's best for you. Trust me. Over time, these suggestions evolve into commands. You begin to feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly seeking their approval or fearing their disappointment. This behavior is toxic because it undermines your ability to make choices for yourself. It creates a dynamic where you feel powerless and dependent, as though your life is no longer your own. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you let someone else dictate your life, you risk losing the essence of who you are. How to reclaim your independence. 1. Recognize the signs. Reflect on your relationships. Do you feel like someone is trying to control your decisions or micromanage your life? Pay attention to whether their behavior makes you feel constrained or free. 2. Assert your boundaries. When someone tries to take control, calmly but firmly reclaim your space. For example, "Oh, I appreciate your input, but I want to make this decision for myself." "Oh, thank you for your concern, but I need to follow my own instincts on this." 3. Stay grounded in your values. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and decisions. Remind yourself that your life is yours to navigate, and only you can decide what aligns with your values. 4. Reduce their influence. If someone consistently disregards your autonomy, consider limiting their role in your life. Surround yourself with people who respect your independence and support your growth. Living under someone else's control can make you forget how capable you are. But every time you stand up for your autonomy, you reclaim a piece of your power. Making your own choices, even small ones, is a way of honoring your identity and living authentically. Has anyone ever made you feel like your decisions weren't valid without their approval? What would change if you stopped seeking their permission and trusted yourself instead? Excessive control can be suffocating, but you have the strength to break free and take back your life. In the next section, we'll explore another toxic behavior: selfishness. This is when someone places their own needs and desires above yours, leaving you feeling neglected and undervalued. If this content resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can continue this journey toward empowerment and self-respect. Your life is yours. Don't let anyone else take the wheel. Behavior 7. Selfishness. Have you ever felt like someone was always putting their needs above yours, no matter how much you gave or sacrificed? Perhaps they only reach out when they need something, barely acknowledging your efforts or emotions. Selfishness, especially in close relationships, is one of the most draining behaviors you can encounter. And yet, it's something we often tolerate, hoping they'll eventually change. I've been there. I've poured my time, energy, and heart into relationships where I was expected to give endlessly without ever receiving the same consideration. It left me feeling empty and unappreciated. But here's the truth. You deserve relationships that are built on mutual respect and care, not one-sided self-interest. Selfishness isn't always obvious. It often shows up in subtle ways. They dominate conversations, rarely asking how you're doing. They expect you to accommodate their needs, but they're never available when you need them. They disregard your feelings or efforts, dismissing them as unimportant. Over time, this pattern takes its toll. You might find yourself feeling resentful, wondering why your needs always take a back seat. But remember, true relationships thrive on balance, where both people give and take equally. As Seneca said, associate with those who will make you a better person. If someone's selfishness is dragging you down, it may be time to reevaluate their role in your life. How to address selfishness in others. 1. Acknowledge the pattern. Recognize when someone consistently prioritizes themselves at your expense. Ask yourself, am I the only one making sacrifices in this relationship? 2. Communicate your needs. Selfish people may not realize the extent of their behavior until you point it out. Speak calmly but firmly. Oh, I've noticed that I'm always the one adjusting my plans. Can we find a way to balance this? Oh, I value our relationship, but I also need my feelings and efforts to be recognized. 3. Set boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no when their demands become excessive. Protect your time and energy by prioritizing your own needs. 4. Evaluate the relationship. If the selfish behavior persists, despite your efforts to address it, consider whether this relationship truly aligns with your values. Sometimes, walking away is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Your time, effort, and emotions are precious. They shouldn't be spent on people who only take without giving back. By standing up to selfishness, you're not just protecting your well-being, you're creating space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. Have you ever felt like you were giving too much in a relationship? What would happen if you started prioritizing your own needs? Selfishness can leave you feeling undervalued, but reclaiming your power is possible. In the next section, we'll address another harmful behavior, dishonesty. This is when lies and deceit break trust, leaving relationships fragile and unstable. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss what's next. Together, we're building a life grounded in mutual respect, authenticity, and self-worth. You deserve relationships that lift you up. Don't settle for less. Behavior 8. Dishonesty. Have you ever trusted someone deeply, only to discover that their words or actions were built on lies? Dishonesty, whether it's a small white lie or a deliberate betrayal, has the power to shatter trust, the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's more than just disappointing, it's destabilizing. I've seen the pain dishonesty can cause, the shock of realizing you've been misled, the doubt it plants in your mind, not just about the other person, but about your own judgment. But here's the truth. Honesty is non-negotiable. Without it, relationships crumble and trust becomes impossible to rebuild. Dishonesty often starts subtly. A small omission here, a harmless exaggeration there. Over time, it can grow into a web of deceit, making it hard to tell what's real and what isn't. Some common examples include promises that are broken without explanation, exaggerations designed to impress or manipulate, avoiding the truth to evade responsibility. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if it isn't right, don't do it. If it isn't true, don't say it. Dishonesty not only harms others, but also corrodes the character of the one who practices it. How to address dishonesty. 1. Recognize the signs. Pay attention to patterns of inconsistent stories, vague answers, or excuses that don't add up. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. 2. Confront with clarity. If you suspect dishonesty, approach the person calmly and directly. For example, "Oh, I noticed this doesn't align with what you said before. Can you clarify?" "Oh, I value honesty in our relationship. Can we have an open conversation about this?" 3. Set expectations. Make it clear that honesty is a priority for you. Let them know that integrity is essential for trust and connection. 4. Decide on your boundaries. If dishonesty persists despite your efforts to address it, Consider whether the relationship is worth maintaining. It's okay to walk away from people who repeatedly betray your trust. Dishonesty doesn't just hurt your relationship with others, it can also shake your confidence in your ability to judge people. Rebuilding that trust in yourself starts with setting boundaries and valuing transparency. Remember, you deserve honesty in all areas of your life. A question for you. Have you ever ignored dishonesty because it felt easier than confronting it? How would your life change if you surrounded yourself with people who value truth as much as you do? Dishonesty undermines trust, but it's not the end of the road. In the next section, we'll explore another destructive behavior, emotional detachment. This occurs when someone refuses to connect with your feelings, leaving you feeling isolated and unsupported. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to continue this journey of growth and empowerment. Trust is a gift. Give it only to those who prove themselves worthy. You deserve relationships built on honesty and respect. Behavior 9. Emotional detachment. Have you ever opened your heart to someone only to feel like they weren't truly listening? Maybe you shared your struggles or joys, but instead of connecting with you, they brushed it off or changed the subject. Emotional detachment is one of the most isolating behaviors to endure, especially when it comes from someone you care about deeply. I've seen how painful it can be to feel emotionally ignored. It makes you question your worth, as if your feelings don't matter. But here's the truth. Your emotions are valid and you deserve to be seen, heard, and supported in your relationships. Emotional detachment isn't always obvious. Sometimes it shows up as silence when you need words of comfort or indifference when you're looking for understanding. Some common signs include they dismiss your emotions, saying things like, "You're overreacting," or "It's not that big of a deal." They avoid meaningful conversations and stick to surface-level topics. They act indifferent to your achievements, struggles, or needs. This lack of connection can leave you feeling unseen and undervalued, eroding the emotional bond that relationships rely on. As Seneca once said, no person can live happily who has regard for themselves alone and turns everything to their own advantage. You must live for others if you wish to live for yourself. Genuine relationships require empathy and emotional presence. Without them, the connection fades. How to address emotional detachment 1. Express your feelings. Sometimes people aren't aware of how their detachment affects you. Open the conversation with kindness. "Oh, I've been feeling like we're not connecting emotionally. Can we talk about what's been going on?" "Oh, when I share something personal, I'd really appreciate your thoughts or support." 2. Set emotional boundaries. If someone consistently dismisses your emotions, let them know it's not okay. For instance, "Oh, I need to feel supported when I share my feelings. If you can't provide that, I may need to reevaluate this relationship." 3. Cultivate empathy in the relationship. Share how their emotional presence, or lack thereof, affects you. This can help build awareness and encourage change. 4. Know when to walk away. If someone remains emotionally unavailable despite your efforts, it may be time to prioritize your well-being and distance yourself. Relationships should be a source of support, not a drain on your emotional health. Emotional detachment can make you feel isolated, but you deserve relationships where your feelings are valued and your voice is heard. Start by surrounding yourself with people who genuinely care about you and are willing to connect on a deeper level. Have you ever stayed in a relationship where you felt emotionally ignored? How would your life change if you chose to prioritize emotional connection and support? Feeling emotionally disconnected is tough, but understanding how to address it is empowering. In the next section, we'll tackle another toxic behavior, blame shifting. This occurs when someone refuses to take responsibility for their actions and places the burden on you instead. Behavior 10. Blame shifting. Have you ever been blamed for something that wasn't your fault? Maybe someone turned their failures into your responsibility or made you feel guilty for things beyond your control. Blame shifting is one of the most toxic behaviors you can experience. It not only erodes your confidence, but also traps you in a cycle of self-doubt and unnecessary guilt. I've seen how blame shifting plays out. It starts subtly. A comment here, a sigh there, and before you know it, you're carrying burdens that were never yours to bear. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for other people's mistakes or emotions, and you deserve to live free of unfair blame. Blame shifting is a tactic that avoids accountability by making someone else the scapegoat. It often looks like someone deflecting responsibility with statements like, "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted this way." Playing the victim to manipulate your emotions. "You always make me feel like I'm not good enough." Exaggerating minor issues to shift attention away from their actions. This behavior is damaging because it makes you question your actions and even your self-worth. Instead of addressing their shortcomings, the blame shifter projects them onto you, leaving you to clean up the emotional mess. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." A good person takes responsibility for their actions. They don't push it onto others. How to handle blame shifting 1. Recognize the pattern. Pay attention to repeated instances where someone avoids responsibility by blaming you. Ask yourself, am I constantly apologizing for things that aren't my fault? 2. Refuse to take the blame. Stand your ground when someone tries to shift responsibility onto you. For example, "Oh, I understand you're upset, but this isn't something I caused or control." "Oh, let's focus on finding a solution instead of placing blame." 3. Call out the behavior. Calmly. If you notice a pattern of blame shifting, address it directly but without anger. "Oh, I've noticed you often blame me for things I haven't done. Can we talk about how we can address problems more fairly?" 4th, set boundaries. Make it clear that you won't tolerate being unfairly blamed. If the behavior persists, consider limiting your interactions with the person to protect your emotional well-being. Blame shifting thrives on guilt and self-doubt, but you don't have to play along. By refusing to accept blame that isn't yours, you're taking a powerful step toward protecting your peace of mind and reinforcing your self-respect. Have you ever found yourself apologizing for things you didn't do? What would it feel like to break free from the weight of unnecessary blame? Blame shifting can be exhausting, but recognizing it is the first step toward freedom. This marks the end of our journey through the 10 toxic behaviors no one should tolerate. But the work doesn't stop here. Every step you take to set boundaries, demand respect, and protect your dignity brings you closer to a life of authenticity and peace. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to continue learning how to build healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Remember, you deserve a life free from toxic behaviors, a life where your worth is celebrated, not questioned. As we wrap up this journey through the 10 toxic behaviors no one should tolerate, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Your time, energy, and emotions are precious. They deserve to be cherished and protected. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect. Demanding respect, honesty, and kindness is not asking too much. It's what you deserve. Life is too short to settle for relationships or situations that drain you. You have the power to create a life that uplifts you, surrounded by people who see your worth and celebrate it. Remember, every step you take toward valuing yourself sends a message to the world. I am enough, just as I am. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so we can continue exploring how Stoic wisdom can empower us to live with greater dignity and purpose. Don't forget to leave a comment below. What behavior resonated most with you, and how do you plan to take back your power?